Hey guys, it's Emily and welcome back to another video. Sorry I haven't been here in a while. School and 2020, the future infamous year, they've sort of gotten in the way of that, but now that it's summer and I have a better idea of what high school is like, hopefully I will be able to start making videos again, obviously making one right now, and also continue making them into next school year. I do have a plan for that. I'm going to try to make it work. I am taking some harder classes next year, so it might not be possible, but I'll do my best to make it so. Today, I am going to be simultaneously talking about my 9th grade experience while also giving you guys some advice if you are going into 9th grade, because it seems like a very big transition and it can be very stressful for some people. I know there's a lot of people, middle schoolers, who are probably really pumped for high school and are like, yes, let's go, woohoo, I'm a high schooler now. And that's great, honestly. Me personally, I was very stressed about going into high school. There were a lot of different factors to that, but mainly I didn't know how my teachers were going to be. I didn't know what my schedule was going to look like. I didn't know if I would get the classes that I wanted. I didn't know if I would be able to manage the workload because I didn't know what the workload was going to be. And in every instance of seeing high school portrayed in the media, like TV shows, movies, etc., it always seemed so different from middle school. So in my mind, it was this big, huge transition. It's like middle school, high school. Like, high school is the thing that you graduate from and then go off into the real world as an adult. Like, it just seems like this big thing, but it actually wasn't. 9th grade was definitely a change because the school was bigger. I went from basically a single hallway, 3-floor school to a giant square of a school with like a hollowed out center, like a courtyard, and it was still 3 floors, but it was definitely a different layout and I had to figure that out, and there were new teachers and a new style of learning, but it didn't feel that different, especially if you go from a different elementary school to a different middle school. You're already experienced in that shift between one school that you know really well to another school that's new to you, and so it's sort of that same transition. It's just you're going from a school that you know well to one that you don't know, and you're going to have to get used to that. It's going to be easier if you have friends coming with you from your old school or you know people going to your new school. I thought that I was gonna have a problem with that. Everyone at my middle school was going to completely different high schools than me, and the only 6 people that were going to my high school from my middle school were people that I never really talked to, or at least that I wasn't friends with. And so it was really great that I was able to reconnect with a couple of the people from my elementary school, and that definitely saved me a lot of trouble. I would say if you have those friends, don't try to be all cool and be like, I'm gonna make myself new high school friends. Like, if you have dependable friends, go stand by them, because that's just gonna work out in your best interests, especially in those first weeks of school when everything is very new. I probably would have been way more stressed out if I had to figure out where I was gonna sit at lunch and who I was gonna try to be friends with. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't make new friends. I'm just saying in those first couple of weeks, if you have people that you already know and that you feel comfortable carrying a conversation with, hang with them. Like, stick together, especially if you have classes together, because it will make that whole transition so much easier, because you're not trying to immediately meet new people, and throughout the year you can obviously make more friends, and I encourage that because it's definitely useful to have friends in all of your classes, and you probably won't go into school knowing one person in all of your classes. That's just unrealistic, especially if you have 8 classes like I do. Adding on to the topic of new friends, if you find it hard to make friends, to talk to new people, all of that, don't try to just talk to anybody. You pick out a couple of people that you might want to become friends with. You observe them, you're like, okay, this person seems approachable. This person seems very nice. I'm going to, if possible, I don't know what the assigned seating versus free seating looks like at your high school and in your different classes, but if it's possible, try to sit next to that person and try to start up a conversation with them, because if you pick out a couple of people that you're going to specifically try to become friends with, it's going to be a much more focused thing, and it can be more of a, I don't want to say mission, but like it gives you someone to focus on and to be like, hi, I'm Emily, nice to meet you, and then you start up a conversation with this person, and then you at least have one person in that class to talk to. Just a strategy to think about, because I know that it can be very hard talking to new people, and I actually made a really good friend by doing that. Okay. Look at me all fancy, it's like I do research or stuff. So this applies at the beginning of the school year as well as at the end. Forecast for classes that interest you and that you think you'll enjoy, because if you just forecast for the courses that your friends are deciding to take, it's not going to work out for you in the end, because one, you may not even be in the same period as your friend, and two, if it's something that really doesn't interest you, it's gonna really suck to be stuck in that class for the rest of the year, because a lot of schools aren't that lenient about switching what classes you're going to take after the school year started. Please forecast for classes you want to take. If you're an 8th grader and it's May, is that when people forecast? I don't know. And you're forecasting for what classes you want to take going into high school, that applies. And if you're in 9th grade, we did our forecasting in like January. I don't know if that's early, but we did it then so that they have time to work everything out. It applies then too. Please forecast for classes that you want to take. I personally have my 4-year courses, the courses I plan to take over 4 years, that's the one, planned out. And I've been editing and revising it whenever I decide that I want to take a different class. But it's sort of nice, at least for me, who I really like planning things. It makes me feel prepared. Going through the course guide and figuring out what classes I want to take, what classes I don't want to take, really helped me feel more calm about scheduling for my 4 years of high school. Something to think about if you're like me and you like feeling prepared. I said this in my middle school advice video, so if you really want to hear at least a little bit more about this, go check that one out. But find a map of your school if you can. I think I got my map on orientation, or it was in the course guide or something. I don't know, something like that. But it's very, very useful, because on the first day of school, we have all of our classes in one day. Normally we have A days and B days where we have 4 classes on one day and the other 4 classes on the next. But on the first day we had 4 classes before lunch, 4 classes after lunch. It was really quick. And the reason that I made it to all my classes efficiently is because I had studied that map and I was like, okay, I know where I am going. And that actually ended up helping some of my friends out, because they had the same classes that I did. And it ended up saving them from being late as well, because I would be like, yeah, it's just right around the corner here. Wow, look at me, I'm so fancy. I know where all of our classes are. Yeah, if you really want to seem cool, know the entire map of the school, because that's popularity at its finest. Get most, if not all, of your school supplies beforehand, and if you think you might need a notebook for a class, you probably will. I don't know if every school does this, but our school, they gave out notebooks for English and math, and so you can get notebooks for those classes if you want to, but if your school gives them out, or if they have some sort of plan in place for providing students with materials, you don't have to worry about that as much, but it's definitely useful on the first day to be able to take notes somewhere or do something along those lines, because it can be very difficult if you're in the first week of school and suddenly you're thrown into an assignment, which there were a couple that I was thrown into in the first couple of days. And it's very beneficial if you have a notebook, if you have some pencils or a pen or something to write with, so you don't have to depend on the teacher's supply in the first day or the first couple of days, because there are going to be a lot of other people who are doing the same thing. Me trying to interpret my handwriting. It's a process. This may seem unimportant, but learning all of your teachers' names quickly is very, very important, especially in the first month or so of school when you're getting into the rhythm of high school, because knowing your teachers' names means that you can address them and have a solid conversation with them and ask them a question. It seems like you care about school if you know your teachers' names, and it makes it easier to ask other people about their experiences with that teacher and get advice on how to figure out their class. It's just very useful to know your teachers' names. This is something that I didn't do. Well, I sort of did, but you'll see what I mean. Join clubs, sports teams, etc., especially if you want to make friends with common interests. I planned on joining a bunch of clubs. Didn't actually happen. Yeah. Oops. If you join a club or a sports team and you're on that team or club with people who are also interested in that subject or that sport, you're going to find people with similar interests, which similar interests usually lead to friendships. And so that is also a great way to make friends. I got drafted into the debate team on my school, kind of. I walked into history class one day and my history teacher was like, "Yo, Emily, so I have an open spot on my debate team because someone's sick. You up for it?" Like, I'm not even in the class, but I'll think about it. That was not my coherency of speech at the moment because I was like, it actually turned out really well. I didn't participate in all the debates, but I participated in a couple, and I learned that I at least want to try out a debate next year, so I'm taking that class next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I just realized I never told you guys what the point of that whole debate story was. Basically, just me explaining why at the beginning of that section of advice I was like, "Oh, I didn't do this, but JK." Be polite to your teachers, even if you think that they are like a little annoying. Obviously, if they're really rude to you, like, go to another teacher and tell them. It pays off to have a good relationship with all of your teachers, because then if you really need an extension, you're more likely to get one. They'll know you better as a person, so they'll know if you're reliable with assignments, they'll know if you're responsible. It's just beneficial to know your teachers and to be polite to them and to know their names. All that stuff kind of goes together. Try to be very responsible and studious the whole year, but the first half especially. I know that seems weird because in the last 2 quarters or the last semester, you get more work, but here's why. If you show that you can be a responsible student in the first semester, the first 2 quarters of school, or the first 3 quarters, like the first semester to 3 quarters of school, you're going to show your teachers that you are a responsible student and that you do turn in work on time and that you do care about school. So in that last semester or couple of quarters of the school year, if you need an extension or if you're really not feeling it that day because you're having a stressful day, like you have a math test next period or something, and you ask like, "Hey, can I not do this assignment right now? It's really stressing me out and I just don't feel like it. Can I turn it in tomorrow morning or can I turn it in next class?" They're more likely to allow you to do that. And that can be very beneficial. I did that a couple of times and my teachers were really understanding because I would be having a bad day and I'd be like, "I really can't do this right now, but you know that I'm a responsible student and therefore can I not do this assignment as long as you know that I'll turn it in?" And they allowed me to do that. As long as you can show that you will get that work done and you won't just put it off, they'll trust you. Staying organized, very important. If you go to my, what did I call it? My last video that I posted like a year ago. Oops. My binder tour video, I did it with Elena, or backpack tour. It was a backpack tour because I didn't really, the main thing was a backpack, not a binder. If you go to that video, you'll see that I had 2 binders. One for A days, one for B days. That, lifesaver, keeps you organized. It also helps you know which day is which. Like, if you have one binder in your backpack, as soon as you get home, you'll be like, "Okay, switching that out because I don't want to forget my stuff for tomorrow." It's beneficial. And then all your work isn't piled into one binder that gets really heavy and you're like, oh no. Also, planner. I had a planner. I used it most of the year. Towards the end, it was like, oh my god, I can't use this anymore. But planners are beneficial. Get a planner that is well organized for your needs. I know different people are different, oh god, okay. I keep thinking words and the wrong words are coming out of my mouth. Get a planner that suits your taste, that suits your needs, and it will definitely help you throughout the year. It will help you stay organized. It will help you remember to turn things in, which is very important because, you know, grading. Always complete study guides before tests to the best of your abilities. Maybe even go overboard a little bit and just like really dial it down. Practice sentences if it's an open-ended question. Really useful. I got 100% on a test this year in my history class because I did the study guide to the most extreme level. And the test wasn't necessarily easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be because I was so dialed in about studying. Don't avoid talking to other students. I definitely did this. I'm giving you some advice that could have benefited me. Don't avoid talking to them. Like, they're not that bad. I mean, some of them are probably going to judge you a little bit for being a freshman, but most of them aren't, and most of them are really nice. Later in the year, I ended up making a couple friends that were juniors or seniors, and they were super nice. They were just genuinely good people, and it was really great because I could ask them about classes that I was going to be taking or that I was thinking about taking, and I could get advice from them. And also, it was just nice to have more people to talk to in my classes. The thing that I just mentioned about how you can ask them about classes that you're going to take or teachers that you're going to have, that is so beneficial because I got some really great advice about my pre-calculus class next year from a senior that I knew. They were super nice in giving me answers about that class, and while the class is supposed to be really hard, I did get some good tips, and I feel a little bit more prepared going into that class next year. So definitely beneficial to talk to upperclassmen. You can get some good advice, you can make some new friends. Don't avoid it, but don't like push it. Don't be like annoying. Don't try to hang out with them because they're like cool or something. Just don't do it for those reasons. There's not more. Didn't write more. Okay. I guess this is the end of the video. That was a very anticlimactic end because really did not realize I was stopping there. But anyways, here we are. I will see you the week after next, hopefully. I completely forgot about my outro, which is like prime YouTuber skills, am I right? Bye guys, not burgers. See you in a little bit. Peace.